One summer moment can change a child's life. Through Toys for Tots Give and Go initiative, your support provides books, games, toys, and outdoor adventures that spark curiosity, creativity, and a love of nature. Whether it's fishing, learning a new sport, reading under a tree, or playing with friends, these moments build confidence and lifelong memories. For too many children, those moments never come. You can help change that this summer. Visit toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots, delivering hope beyond the holidays.
Honey, what are you listening to?
Mom!
Your teen might not share everything with you, but teens share everything with each other. And certain everyday behaviors, like sharing food, drinks, or kisses, could mean sharing bacteria that can cause meningococcal disease, known as meningitis. Although meningitis is uncommon, about 1 in 10 who develop it will die. Ask your teen's doctor about missing meningitis vaccinations. Learn more at meningitis.com. Vaccination may not protect all recipients. Sponsored by GSK.
Happy 4th on the 5th. Isn't this beautiful? How beautiful.
How beautiful, yeah. Hi, welcome to the Dick Morris and Doug Dipierro show, sponsored by the Patriot Gold Group.
That's Pia Toscano.
Okay.
He was doing some rodeo thing, the opening.
Well, first of all, welcome and thank you and happy July 4th.
On the 5th.
Eileen used to say July B4th when she was a baby, when she was a kid. You know how the world is filled with people who are constantly prophesizing the doom of the U.S. dollar?
Yeah, sure.
Saying that the BRICS people are going to take over, the Chinese are going to replace the dollar with the yuan. America's too weak to sustain the dollar.
Russia with gold.
Before he took office, for the second time, Donald Trump was quoted as saying that losing the U.S. dollar supremacy would be the biggest setback we could have had in 200 years.
Sure.
And that was all true, but Donald Trump has solved that problem. And I want to explain why. It's complicated, but it's well worth listening to because it's one of his amazing historical achievements. And nobody's put it together. We've all read that the dollar's domination is under attack and that the BRICS countries are all leading the way in dooming the dollar. Now, courtesy of Rob Martin, a podcaster I increasingly like and rely on, comes the answer. Trump has engineered a strategy for continuing U.S. dollar dominance. And let me walk you through it. First start with choke points. There are 4 critical waterways on which the world's energy supply physically moves. Choke points, narrow stretches of land where the water could be blockaded easily. The Strait of Hormuz, the Panama Canal, the Strait of Malacca in Indonesia, and the Bab el-Mandeb entrance of the Red Sea, little place between Africa and the Red Sea, Africa and Arabia, which is a choke point.
By Djibouti?
By Djibouti.
Djibouti,
he calls it.
Right, that's right. Where it
For
is.
decades, the U.S. provided general security for these routes as part of their global naval posture. But now Panama, as a result of Trump's pressure, has kicked China out, returning the canal to the U.S. We're opening the Straits of Hormuz. And our new treaty with Indonesia gives us the responsibility and the power to keep the Straits of Malacca open. So the U.S. is assuring that oil flows, and the world needs the U.S. and the dollar to secure it. So one point is that we have totally changed the geographic construct of oil flow to put the U.S. Navy at the key posts of defending that. And the result is that we've been able to insist that all oil transactions be in dollars, and they will be. The second element is more complicated, stable coins.
Well, let me just ask you about insisting about the dollar because of the strength that Trump has got going on right now,
right,
from Maduro to China, Iran, and now
all the choke points.
Like he wouldn't have had this 3 months ago, let's say? Right.
No, a year ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
stable coins. On the financial side, Trump and Congress have totally changed the landscape to advantage the dollar through a new product called stable coins, STABLECOINS. a digital creation that is dominating the financial system. Almost unanimously, with strong Democratic support, Congress passed a law that now requires that every stablecoin issued in the U.S. be backed 1-to-1 by dollars or short-term treasuries.
Good.
Every stablecoin under this framework is a legal instrument of the U.S. government, even when the user is in Lagos or Manila. In 2025, stablecoins settled more than $53 trillion of transactional value, more than Visa and MasterCard combined. Now set the deeper implication. For 50 years, dollar hegemony rested on the choices of a small number of foreign central banks: the People's Bank of China, the Bank of Japan, the Saudi Central Bank. At least in theory, any of these banks could be reversed at any moment, and the fear of that reversal gave way to every BRICS press release for 2 decades. Stablecoins have flipped that completely. Dollar hegemony in the new system rests on the self-interest of hundreds of millions of individuals choosing to hold a stablecoin instead of their local currency. A farmer in Argentina, a freelancer in Manila, a property buyer in Istanbul. Add them up and you get atomized structural demand for U.S. sovereign debt that no single government can disrupt by selling its reserves. Call it hyper-dollarization, because that's what it actually is. Crypto is now the mass exporter of the U.S. dollar. Key change. And that bill passed unanimously. Democrats supported it too, and they deserve credit for that.
So basically, crypto is now backed by the dollar, just the way the dollar was backed by gold.
Well, and
pretty much.
Yeah, and the dollar is backed by the dollar and U.S. Treasury securities.
Right.
The third is bank regulation. The U.S. government funds itself by selling Treasury bonds. Someone has to buy these bonds. For decades, foreign central banks and the Federal Reserve itself were the biggest buyers. But foreign central banks have been buying less and less, and the Fed has been actively shrinking its bookings since 22. The question that keeps the Treasury Secretary up at night is simple. Who's going to buy all this debt? American banks are the obvious answer. They're sitting on enormous balance sheets. Treasuries are the safest asset in the world, and banks love safe assets. But there's just one problem. A post-2000 regulation called the Supplementary Leverage Ratio, SLR, treats treasuries the same as other risky loans when calculating how much capital a bank needs to hold in reserve. In plain terms, if a bank buys $1 billion of treasuries, it has to set aside that amount of capital as if it's made $1 billion of corporate loans or mortgages. That makes no sense for a risk-free asset and means banks are actively discouraged from buying one thing the government needs the most to buy, treasury notes. So that has changed. The result of legislation now is that you do not have to have a dollar-for-dollar reserve when you buy treasury notes.
How do they insure it?
Well, it's insured by the power of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the ultimate insurance.
Got it.
Due to stablecoin, energy-driven demand through these choke points, and bank deregulation, borrowing costs will drop across the entire U.S. economy. This is what is powering the economy today. We keep broadcasting news of how the economy is doing well, doing strong. Now that gas prices are down, it's even stronger. And this is in large part being powered by the stablecoin and the choke point of oil and the bank deregulation.
Because more people are using stablecoin in different countries also, so we see that there's money going to be moved around. Got it.
This is the opening reindustrialization needs. The cheaper capital gets, the faster it moves. For China, this is a catastrophe, and they know it. Belt and Road, BRICS, yuan oil contracts, the digital yuan, dollar accumulation, all of it was meant to build an alternative to the dollar system. almost every piece has been kneecapped in the last 12 months. Their primary oil suppliers outside of OPEC are gone. We don't let Venezuela and increasingly Iran sell to China. Their port operators in Panama are out. Their energy supply through Malacca in Indonesia is under American protection and surveillance. And the digital yuan has been outflanked by a U.S.-backed stablecoin framework that hit the global market first.
So this is pretty serious.
It's huge.
This is huge.
And it really means that in macro terms, Trump has completely defeated China. And
really? I believe that.
Worth bearing that in mind. And while we're on the subject of China, remember that China is shrinking. Its population is dropping. The one-child policy has basically doomed the country and will doom it over the next 50 years, 100 years.
This thing with Iran didn't help them very much.
No, because that's their oil supply.
That's their oil supply.
But that's why in one of the most historic steps ever, China met with Trump and decided not to go ahead with building a pipeline to Russia, which would have taken Siberian gas and given it to China. Instead, they said, no, we're going to buy American gas. And that was an incredible decision motivated by the stuff we just talked about. And so it's important in that worldview to understand that Trump has completely won the Cold War with China, if you will.
Do you want to go to 27 now, Dick?
Yeah. Let me talk to you about the Senate race. Yeah, we have time.
So I'm looking it up right now.
The Democrats are very hopeful of taking back the Senate, and it's absolutely BS. There is no way they're going to win the Senate. And
Not after hearing this story.
Let me walk you through it.
But I just want to say before we go through the story, I'm nervous about even talking about it because they get the idea and go, ooh, we got to work harder.
No,
I know, but it's out there anyway, but you'll see. Our listeners will understand what I'm saying.
Currently, the Democrats have 47 seats in the Senate and the Republicans 53. In the upcoming midterms, if the Democrats want to control the Senate, they need to hold on all of their seats and flip 4. Latest polling from the New York Times, Siena, says that is not going to happen. Democratic Party's primary hopes lie in flipping Texas, Maine, Ohio, Iowa, North Carolina, and Alaska. So let's go through them one at a time. Texas. Earlier this week, Breitbart News reported that the stridently heterosexual neighbors with a uterus Tallarico.
What? What is that? Tallarico.
He called women people with the uterus.
Oh, James Tallarico.
Tallarico, yeah.
Neighbors.
He has lost his lead against Ken Paxton. Although the truth is that Tallarico never had, led in only one poll, and that super freak statement made headlines throughout the media. But he lost that lead. There is no way they're going to flip Texas. I've done Ted Cruz's last 2 campaigns. Texas is solidly Republican, and it's gotten more so as a result of in-migration and the increasing flipping of the Latino vote to the Republicans.
What's the percentage of left to right in Texas? Like 25% left?
No, it's about, if you do everybody, it's about 55-45.
Oh.
Conservative. The cities, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin are all Democrat. But the rural vote, which is about a quarter of the state, is unbelievably Republican, like almost 100%.
Wow.
80, 90%. And that anchors Texas as a Republican state.
Sure.
Now, the best hope the Democrats have was sabotaged in Maine because Susan Collins was up for re-election. And the Democrats nominated Graham Plattner,
the Nazi
tattoo
guy.
Nazi tattoo, who isn't really an oyster farmer, but really did have an extramarital affair on the sex predator site Kit. Really does interfere with himself in Porter politics. Really does love communism, hates Americans, spreads racism about black people. At one time, Plattner led a nearing double-digit amount, but now he's up by less than a point, and seems pretty inevitable that Maine is going to re-elect Collins, as done 5 other times. Ohio. Ohio is a special election to fill the seat currently held by VP Vance. After Vance left, Governor Mike DeWine appointed former Republican Lieutenant Governor John Husted, Husted, to fill the seat. This special election will determine who holds that seat until 28, when Vance's term would have ended. Husted is running against Sherrod Brown, the 3-term U.S. Senator who lost his seat in 24 to Republican Bernie Moreno.
And she's a Democrat.
According to the Times Siena poll, Husted leads Brown by 50 to 47, and other polling also shows Brown in the lead. But remember that Trump carried Ohio by 11 points, so this state is not going Democrat for the Senate. Iowa. There's an open seat currently held by Republican Senator Joni Ernst, who's retiring at the end of her term. Republican Rep. Ashley Henson is up against Democratic State Rep. Joe Torek. According to the current poll, Henson is up by 48 to 46, and Iowa has become a reliably Republican state. North Carolina. This is the key. This is a key one. Democrats think they're going to flip it. The insufferable rhino Tom Tillis is retiring, and this is an open seat pitting former Democratic Governor Roy Cooper against Republican Michael Whatley. At the moment, Cooper has a 50 to 43 lead.
He's up 7.
Yeah, but that's not going to stay, because when Cooper was governor, there was overcrowding in the prisons, and due to AIDS being all over the prisons, inmates sued with the Civil Liberties Union, and the courts ruled you have to discharge inmates because you can't let this crowding continue with AIDS.
I remember that.
Going in the prison.
That was who did that?
The court.
Oh, the court.
And Cooper, in response to that, let 3,500 prisoners out of jail.
Ugh.
And one of those inmates killed that wonderful Ukrainian woman.
Oh, yeah.
Who was killed at a train station.
Oh, in a
Charlotte.
train. Horrible.
Yeah. So this is like a Willie Horton case, and he's responsible for it.
So Alaska. You're at Alaska.
And then Alaska. Incumbent Dan Sullivan is in a close race.
The real
Democrat,
Dan or the fake?
real one?
Okay.
With Democrat Mary Petrola. Today's Times poll has Sullivan up by 2, 47 to 40. This is in line with the Democrats pulled a fast one by putting another Dan Sullivan on the ballot. The courts have ruled that he has the right to stay on the ballot, and much will happen between now and Election Day. But between these polls and falling gas prices, as of the moment, when it comes to holding the U.S. Senate, I would rather be us than them.
Plus, we're talking about Dan Sullivan, and there's a lot of talk about the fraud guy. So hopefully people see it. We have to take a break, and we come back. We got more for you.
You got to finish singing first.
Yeah, there's no finish. We can go on for 10 minutes. I played the whole thing. Our guy will just fade us out.
The end of...
Wait. Thank you to what show? Thanks for coming back to what show?
Thanks for coming back to the Dick Morris and Doug Dipierro show.
Sponsored by?
The Patriot Gold Group.
By the way, I just got to always say that was Pia Toscano. I saw it yesterday, and I said it has to be on the show. She's beautiful. I don't even know who this is. I maybe heard her name. I don't really know how famous.
So the end of June was the end of the Supreme Court term, and they made a slew of decisions in the last week. Some for Trump, some against him, but I want to go through them with you. The first one was that the big one, the important one, was not the birthright citizenship one. That was important, and that was a big issue.
We didn't get that one.
But the big one was Humphrey's executor. The Supreme Court on Monday issued its decision in Trump v. Slaughter, holding that for-cause removal from the Federal Trade Commission is contrary to the Constitution's separation of power. About 100 years ago, 90 years ago, Congress passed a law saying the president can fire anybody in the executive branch he wants, executive branch, Commerce Department, State Department, Treasury Department. But the one thing he cannot do is to fire members of boards that the previous president has appointed for a certain number of years, or even who he's appointed for a certain number of years. And the big example that came up now is a woman named Slaughter, I think Renee is her first name,
right,
who is a member of the Federal Trade Commission. And she was appointed for a set term, I think 5 years. And she was appointed by Donald Trump.
No, I thought you said Biden. She was appointed by Trump.
Biden, maybe, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But in any case, Trump didn't like her anymore and wanted to fire her. And the courts ruled that you can't because of that law passed 100 years ago, that the president's hands are tied when it comes to firing members of boards appointed by a previous president, because they're for a certain number of year term. They get appointed 5 or 6 or even 10-year terms. Unless there's cause, the president can't fire them in the middle of the term. And Trump challenged that and said, I should have the right to fire anyone at any time.
And he's the president.
And that is called the Humphreys Executor Clause after the case 100 years ago. This ruling upholds the Trump administration's position and effectively overrules Humphrey's executor, the 1935 case in which SCOTUS held that removal statute only permitted the president to fire commissioners for inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance in office. So this court decision effectively gives control over the entire executive branch to the president, which he hadn't had under Humphrey's executor. So that even if Biden or even if Trump in a previous term appointed somebody, Trump can remove them at will. They're not protected any more than a regular Trump appointee.
Or Biden or anyone could get rid of them. And I think that's right and proper. I think the president should.
So with Humphrey executor, which is the case we're talking about, with Humphrey's executor gone, the deep state independent power was beyond the voters' reach. FDR's 90-year-old coup set up these independent agencies are all effectively endangered. Now, for the first time in 90 years, Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution is restored. A blow to the deep state is crippling. If anything is left of Humphreys, we overrule it. Our Constitution creates 3 branches, but only 1 president. That president is not all-powerful by any means, but he's not impotent, and he alone is vested with the executive power of the United States. Humphrey's executor was a constitutional disaster. If you heard of the case, you might think it's about Trump firing an FTC commissioner, but that's not the question. The real question is, do we still have a constitution, or do we have a permanent ruling class, credentialed, insulated, and effectively unfireable, run the country, while elections serve as a ceremonial change of figureheads? Or will we continue to have a unconstitutional 4th branch of government run by experts, these commissions, insulated from voters and wielding obscure power without democratic accountability?
Well, this makes me think of the parliamentarian.
Yeah.
Somewhat. A little bit of that.
Yeah.
Like, why is she making these little decisions?
That's a very, very good point. The parliamentarian single-handedly holding up the SAFE Act, which is requiring a photo ID, and she can be fired at any time.
When did that take place? Recently or hundreds of years ago?
Which?
Parliamentarian. Was that from the beginning?
No, that was set up when, I don't know when it was set up.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't make sense to me.
But the point is, parliamentarian is controlled by a majority of the Senate, and Thune can fire her at any point that he wants.
But they usually don't because of the whole confidence
They don't because they're worried about losing power and the Democrats could take over. And without a parliamentarian, they could use the alternative to the filibuster to admit states like new states like Puerto Rico and D.C., and they can do all kinds of mischief. But as we just went through, the Democrats are very likely going to lose the Senate. The Republicans will hold it. And I think they shouldn't be keeping the parliamentarian in power. By the way, that rendition I went through earlier about seats only related to seats the Democrats are trying to take away from the Republicans. There are 2 seats the Republicans may well take away from the Democrats. First, Georgia, where John Ossoff is running for re-election, and he was one of the new senators elected in the fraudulent election of 2020, and I think we have an excellent chance to defeat him. And the other
Ossoff.
Ossoff. And the other is in Michigan, where Mike Rogers, a former congressman, is running for Senate as a Republican. And he's opposing 3 Democrats who are in the primary next week. And if El Said, the progressive Arabic Islam candidate, wins that primary, as he might well, that'll be an easy seat to knock off and for us to pick up. But in any case, we're keeping the majority, and we should not be keeping the parliamentarian.
Is that a woman, El Said?
No, man.
Oh,
I think, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so the Supreme Court also upheld birthright citizenship, rejecting Trump's executive order declaring that children born to people who are in the United States, even illegally or temporarily, are U.S. citizens. Hours after the Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship, however, Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles, O-G-L-E-S, introduced a bill that would ban pregnant non-immigrants from coming to the United States. In a 5-4 decision, the court ruled that an executive order from Trump to overhaul birthright citizenship is unconstitutional. Ogles said the decision was not only a betrayal of American sovereignty, but a direct attack on our national security. China has consciously keep asking pregnant women to go to the United States to make sure their children are American and then come back to China. And these are potential subversives in the United States.
And China probably keeps their husband home. In other words, you can't go with your husband because then you're going to stay.
15,000 illegal immigrants become citizens every year because of birthright citizenship. Ogles said, and what Ogles is doing is he's introduced a bill called the Anchors Away Act.
I like it.
Which means that a person is only subject to the jurisdiction of the United States if at least one of the parents is an American citizen or a legal immigrant. Because of birthright citizenship, foreigners are being born on our soil, groomed by communists and globalists, and embedded into our society, Ogles said. They're running for our political offices. They're collecting American benefits, and they're actively colonizing our country. Ogles said his bill is a legislative solution. The proposal would amend U.S. law, which states those born in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction are citizens at birth. Stipulate for a child to be considered under U.S. jurisdiction, one of the parents must be a citizen or national of the United States. Now, this is an interesting constitutional issue. When the court threw out the ban on birthright citizenship, it was actively attacked doing 2 things. First, it said the Constitution said that anyone who came to the United States was a citizen, any baby born here. And it also said that the laws that Congress passed guaranteed birthright citizenship. Now, if Ogles' bill passes, the law will be repealed. And the only thing that will guarantee birthright citizenship is the highly controversial clause in the U.S. Constitution. Because that Constitution says that you have to be subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, the parents. And the illegal immigrants are not under the jurisdiction of the United States.
Explain that.
Well, if I come here illegally and I stay and I act like an American, I'm not under the jurisdiction of the United States. I don't pay income tax. I don't vote. I'm not a citizen. And therefore, my child should not be a citizen.
Good.
And that's the theory going on. But if Ogles' bill passes, all the court would have to do is overrule the constitutional basis, not the statutory basis. And that could be important.
You know, you could almost point to some people that are already in Congress or whatnot. Looks like that happened. You know, I'm not sure, but there's a lot
of... whatever.
inbred. Omar inbred.
Now, the third decision the court made went against us. The court ruled 5-4 to permit counting of mail-in ballots that arrive after Election Day. This was big. The 5-4 decision rejected a Republican-led attack on laws in more than half of the states and D.C. that permit mailed ballots to arrive and be counted in some number of days after the election, provided they're postmarked by Election Day.
See, whoa, that's key. If they are postmarked by Election Day, people aren't going and looking what the stats are that day when it's going on.
Well, they say that.
I say
but
that.
Postmarks can be forged.
Well, that's
and those
okay.
ballots in California were not necessarily effectively postmarked.
Plus, they threw away the envelope that had the postmark.
And the postmark is not the be-all and end-all. And what the court decision was that, yes, it is. You have to be governed by the postmark. And that could be significant because it means that mail-in ballots can be counted.
Wow. So George Soros and his son, here's a thing, funneled staggering $103 million into midterms. Billionaire Democratic kingmaker George Soros and his son Alex spent a staggering $103 million in the midterm election cycle, making the family chief architects of the party's seismic shift towards the radical left. So Soros is doing it again. You know, I was thinking about when I'm going over this story, I'm thinking, Musk could do this too. He could take some of his money and say, let's get to, I have a feeling.
He can. And with the new court decision, hard money and soft money is intermingled. And you can use hard money just like soft money.
I mean, we got to play like them. This has to start to happen.
But the larger point here is that money means less and less in our politics. There's more and more money in our politics, but it means less and less.
Because of social media and
because of
advertising.
Harris outspent Trump 3-2 by over $100 million.
Yeah.
And Trump won anyway. Paid media means a lot. The lower the office gets, the more advertising affects it. But it's less and less because social media is overcoming it. So we'll see where that goes.
Well, that makes sense. The big elections, governor, senator, it's big. But local governments, you need the advertising because you're not out there. All right, so Trump asked High Court to restore the ICE no bail policy. The Trump administration asked the Supreme Court to let federal authorities hold illegal aliens arrested in the U.S. Interior without bail hearings, urging the justices to reverse the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruling that blocked a central part of the administration's detention policy. Solicitor General John Sawyer filed a petition this week telling the justices the case raises a critical, important question on immigration law, driving thousands of detainee lawsuits nationwide. At issue is a July 2025 Immigration and Customs Enforcement memo signed by then Acting Director Lyons. That reclassified every document immigrant as an applicant.
Every undocumented
immigrant as an applicant for admission and stripped immigration judges of authority to hold bail hearings for that population. The Board of Immigration Appeals adopted the same interpretation in September 2025 decision, and immigration judges across the country began ordering detention without release. The Sixth Circuit, writing through Judge Eric Clay and joined by Judge Guy Cole, rejected that reading.
So the court has now ruled that you don't get bail if you come to the United States as an immigrant and you say I'm here for asylum. And what happened under the previous decision was if you claim you're coming for asylum, the judge cannot hold you without bail. And what was going on was people would come in and say, I'm here under asylum.
Bye-bye.
The judge would say, you're under arrest. The guy would say, okay, well, give me bail.
It's
the court
$20
would say,
bail.
we have to give you bail. And then they'd skip.
Yeah,
and they'd never come back. And there are hundreds and thousands of people in the United States who've been ordered to appear in court but haven't. And that has now ended effectively.
Okay.
When we come back, why liberals don't want kids.
Oh, God, thank God.
Welcome back to the Dick Morris and Doug Dipierro show on the 250th anniversary of the U.S., sponsored by the Patriot Gold Group.
Happy day after the 4th of July.
Yes,
And we're going to have Roxana on. She's got a bit of a cold, so everyone deal with that. So on the rocks, what happened?
Hi, Roxana.
Hi, Roxana.
Hi, happy 4th.
Oh, I can hear your sore throat.
Okay, I have a little bit to say. I'll do my best.
Okay.
As we celebrated yesterday 250 years of independence, let us remember that our greatest strength has always been our unity in times of challenge. We may come from different walks of life, but we remain one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we continue to honor our flag, respect one another, and pass on to future generations the enduring spirit of patriotism that has carried America through every single chapter of its remarkable history. May God continue to bless this great nation, and may the flame of freedom forever burn brightly in the hearts of her people.
Beautiful.
While there will always be differing opinions and disagreements, they do not define the soul of America. The overwhelming majority of Americans, regardless of political party, race, faith, or background, continue to love this nation and believe in its promise. We do understand that our differences are part of what makes our republic strong, but they should never overshadow the values that unite us: liberty, courage, justice, faith, opportunity, and enduring hope for a better tomorrow. There's only, if you really look deep, a small minority may choose to reject these ideas, view of our nation through a different lens, but they do not erase the deep love in the millions of hearts for this country. America has endured wars, hardship, division, and triumph for nearly 2.5 centuries because her people, the citizens of America, have never stopped believing that she is worth preserving. God bless America, and happy birthday.
That was beautiful.
Thank you, Rock. That was wonderful.
Perfect.
Amen.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Rock.
Thank
There
you,
was so
Rock.
much evidence.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
Dick, may I add something, please?
Please.
I just wanted to touch base on, I knew you had mentioned it last week, that also today a U.S. president was born, Calvin Coolidge, in 1872. And it's also the anniversary, July 4th, which was yesterday, the death of 3 founding fathers, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and James Monroe. But also
Not James Monroe. Just Madison and Adams.
Are you sure, Dick? Because she's usually right about
Really?
this stuff.
It says 1831, but I'll recheck that.
Okay.
Wow. I think Roxana's right.
Another
Yeah,
birthday.
you may
that
be
was-
right. If you're right, you're right.
She's
I
always right.
did not know that.
Am I right?
You're always right. Whether you're right or not, you're always right.
No, I did not know that. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. But there was one other notable birthday I'd like to add, non-political, which was Nathaniel Hawthorne, 1804, best known for his 19th century book, The Scarlet Letter, which we're all familiar with.
yeah.
So that's quite
Yeah.
a lot of
That's
famous
something.
people.
That's, I was about to talk about that. At least Jefferson Adams, I know about. That was evidence, I think, of God's love for America,
Right.
and
Yes,
the exceptionalism of God's love. That these two patriots who wrote the Declaration of Independence together, they were both on the 5-man committee that drafted the Declaration,
Right.
died on the exact same day.
I can't get on the same
Imagine.
day.
and they had been, and they
The
were
same day, same year.
Same year. They were friends for a long time in France. They worked closely together to get the alliance going. And
Yeah.
then when politics descended on America, they split. Jefferson headed the Republican Party, and Adams headed the Federalist Party. And
Right.
when Washington left office, Adams took his place and continued his policies. In 1800, 4 years after Washington's election, Jefferson defeated Adams for president, and he became the third president of the United States.
Amazing.
And it was a huge, huge change. It basically transformed America from a republic into a democracy. And that change was enormous.
And
they were enemies. But then
Yeah.
about 10 years before their death, Adams and Jefferson wrote to each other and said, we should be friends again. And they became friends. And
Like
they wrote,
Stallone and Schwarzenegger.
and they wrote each other dozens of letters that are well worth reading.
We should be
That
Isn't
were their
that beautiful?
commentary on stuff.
Well, thank
And then
you, Rock. Thank you
Adams'
so much.
last words were, Jefferson still lives, but he didn't still
Well,
live. He died that day,
you know,
too.
Dick and Doug, that is beautiful. I think I will read those letters. But I also wanted to say, and this is from my heart, with all the issues we talk about and all the problems and division, there are so many more millions and millions and millions of people, Americans, and it proved it yesterday, that still bleed red, white, and blue.
Right.
I mean, we are certainly the majority. It's just that the news reports
That's right.
the negativity. But this country is just full of patriots. So
You're right. Thank
on
you
that
so
note,
much,
have
Rock.
a great Sunday,
Now,
everybody.
real fast, we're going to have to take a break. But I want to say, you said Jefferson split. That reminds me of a movie, Fast Times at Richmond High. Spicoli was Sean Penn. Spicoli says he's taking history summer class, and he goes, Mr. Hand, and he was like a drug type kid. He goes, Jefferson said we split from England because England was bogus. So if we don't get some rules pronto, we'll be bogus too. So that's it. So we're going to have to take a break. Are we ready for our break? All right.
Love you guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. We're going to take a break.
And when we come back, why liberals don't have kids.
Good.
Yeah, right. Good.
This is going to be an extremely busy month. I have to watch 104 soccer games, follow the pregame, the postgame, yell useless opinions at the TV. It's a lot. So I knew that when it comes to screening for colon cancer, the choice was clear. The Cologuard Plus test. It can be used at home and can only take 15 minutes, so I can do it during halftime and not miss any action. If you are 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a prescription at Cologuard.com.
Ourselves. Pronto.
I want to apologize to Roxana. She was absolutely right on the rocks.
She's
I
always
did
right.
not realize this.
She's always right.
But James Monroe, the fifth president, died in 1831 on July 4th.
It's unbelievable.
So the second, third, and fifth president all died on July 4th.
That's so. It's
Amazing.
unbelievable.
Amazing. Just amazing. I never knew about James
Wait,
Monroe.
what's the name of this show, by the way?
Oh, I'm sorry. Welcome to the Dick Morrison, Doug
And
Dipierro
sponsored
show.
by?
Sponsored by the Patriot Gold Group.
Thank you. You're welcome, Jack. Jack Haney, I love you. Listen, do you have that piece? No, he doesn't have it. All right, doesn't matter. So
why don't liberals want kids?
just thank God for that, right? The baby bust has entered a new chapter. Birth rates have been falling for more than 18 years, but the desire for babies has been steady. To date, the baby bust has been about unmet desire for family. High school seniors are less and less interested in getting married and having children. They don't even know if they're boy or girl these days, so what's about that? And this trend has been ongoing for a few years. That means the young men and women leaving college these days and entering their mid-20s in the coming years have less interest in tying the knot. And that's all I wanted to do when I was in high school. Have kids and a white picket fence and you know what I mean? I don't get it. Moderating the future is a study of high school kids conducted by the University of Michigan since the 70s. From 2012 to 2022, seniors became less confident that they would get married and have children. The percentage of high school seniors who said they expect to ever get married fell by 7 points among men and 14 points among women. Likewise, we asked how many children they want to have. A significant number are now saying 0. This never happened, ever used to happen. High school students who call themselves conservative are holding steady. This is a good thing, Dick. where about 90% say they want children, with most of the remainder saying they are unsure, so almost 100%. For self-described moderates, the number only recently fell from 90 to 82. For liberal high school seniors, the desire for children is plummeting, thank God. Nearly 90% a decade ago wanted at least one child, but now in 21 to 24, surveys only say 67% want to have kids. Thank you.
Now, that has a huge political impact.
You're kidding.
If you had to look at one variable other than race and party and geography to determine what a voter is going to think, whether it's going to be a liberal or a conservative, a Democrat or a Republican.
His family.
The key thing would be, are you married? And if you're married, do you have children? When people who are not married vote Democrat by 2-1.
They got nothing to lose.
Men and women, 2-1, young and old. Mm-hmm. People who are married with no kids break even. And people who are married and have children overwhelmingly vote Republican.
Yeah, they got a lot to lose.
So marriage is a key, marriage and childbearing are key elements in the building the Republican coalition. And the survey reinforces that.
I mean, it's common sense that that's the way it is. You know, if you're conservative and you have kids, if you have kids, you want to keep your money and you want to work hard. And if you're a liberal, you don't care about anything and you got nothing to lose. You rent a place, you get another place rent, you don't care. So it's just obvious.
So the big news in the last couple of months has been the Democratic Civil War, the takeover of the Democratic Party by socialists. And Mancami was the most public example of that, becoming mayor of New York. But then Mancami had a whole bunch of candidates who were running in primaries in New York City.
Right.
And in two cases, they took on long-term Democratic incumbents and defeated them. They defeated the head of the Hispanic caucus, which was very important.
And not super left guy. That particular person that lost wasn't far left, right?
Right. The losers were not. They
but
were
the
moderate.
winners are big.
Winners are crazy communists.
Crazy, yeah.
And they also defeated Goldman in Brooklyn, who was also a liberal but not crazy. So you have two new radical squad members to go with the four that are currently in Congress. And then there's a seventh one in Denver, a long-term, 15-term Democratic incumbent, a white, named DeJedit, was defeated by a radical socialist. So there are now going to be 7 members of the squad in Congress, which up from the 4 at the moment. And there could be more before the primary season is over.
All right.
And I say, thank God, the Democrats are killing themselves.
It seems though New York is the model for this craziness. All right, when we get back.
Welcome back to the Dick Morris and Doug Dipierro show, sponsored by the Patriot Gold Group.
Beautiful. I want to thank Riff Raff in the booth. He did a great job with the music. This is Supreme Court immigration ruling. A string of Supreme Court decisions this week cemented the broad discretionary authority of President Trump on immigration matters and positioned the executive agencies to move forward with sweeping policies that could remove hundreds of thousands of foreign nationals.
I'm saying millions of foreign nationals.
Oh, because it says hundreds of thousands. Okay, gotcha. You're the boss, so I'm going to go with you. On Thursday, the justices issued opinions on both asylum claims and temporary protection status, TPS, temporary status protection. Temporary protection status, TPS. 2 of the key legal mechanisms for keeping foreigners in the country. TPS is legal status intended for citizens of nation facing an immediate hardship, such as war or natural disaster. About 1.3 million people in the United States have been granted such status, including 600,000 from Venezuela and 330,000 from Haiti. Asylum is a longer-term status for those specifically facing some form of persecution or threat in their home country. Merely applying for asylum status can shield someone from deportation, and as many as 2.6 million people currently enjoy some form of deportation protection through that process. As we spoke earlier, Dick, we were talking about this, right? The Trump administration has sought to deport as many as 22 million illegal aliens, a figure that includes the roughly 10 million people admitted under the previous president, Mr. Sleepy Joe Biden, through various discretionary programs, parole and TPS as of January. Department of Homeland Security has reported roughly 700,000 physical deportations and roughly 2.2 million voluntary.
So that's 3 million people out of the country. That's huge. That's enormous. That's
2.2 left themselves.
That's 1% of our country's population left. That's unbelievable.
Good. A DHS spokesperson stated in President Trump's first year back in office, more than 3 million. That's what you just said. More than 3 million illegal aliens. Right.
Now, the court ruled this week that temporary protected status was only temporary, and that Trump could end it at any point. And he did end it for Venezuelans, 700,000 of whom are in the U.S., and they were admitted because Maduro was a tyrant.
Right.
And now that Maduro is out of office, their temporary protected status is ending.
He beat up the bad. He beat up the bad father, and then he took the kids in and fed them.
And Haiti has 300,000 in the U.S., and Haiti will always be a mess and total disaster.
Remember we went down there.
And Trump is saying you can't treat it as a temporary protected status. So he's ended temporary protected status. And then
he's still going to take care of people.
Well, when they need it.
When
it's a real temporary disaster.
Right.
So tremendous progress by Trump.
Now, this is good, too. Hopefully The View gets this in their face. A conservative media watchdog is urging the Federal Communications Commission not to renew ABC's licenses, accusing the broadcasters of partisan bias as its lucrative TV rights are up in the air. The Media Research Center, MRC, accused ABC of, I like this word, electioneering, engineering the election, electioneering, refusing to cover critical issues, excusing political violence and spreading misinformation in a Monday filing obtained by the Post. We finally have the SEC willing to hold Disney and ABC accountable. Broadcast licenses are a privilege, not an entitlement. In exchange for free use of the public airways, broadcasters agree to serve the public interest. MRC President David Bozell.
Let me just explain that again.
That's the white-haired guy, right?
There are two ways you can watch television, obviously, broadcast and cable, or live streaming, which is a subset of cable. Under cable or live streaming, the broadcaster is paying for that, and that gives him the right to put out whatever he wants. Fox and MSNBC and CNN and Newsmax can be as left or right as they want without any problem. But for the broadcast networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS, that is still about 30% of the broadcast of the audience. They are using public airwaves. They're
Federal
not paying
Communications Commission.
They're not paying for it. And the FCC has ruled you can use the public airways as long as you impartially present both points of view. And if you're electioneering or you're aiming bias toward one party, you no longer can broadcast for free. You have to be licensed to do that, and your license depends on you giving equal time. And what the FCC is now saying is, hey, ABC is not giving equal time. The View is left-wing, and you only get people who are on the left who say it, and the other news shows are equally left-wing.
And then you got Whoopi!
And that issue is now before the courts. And the FCC is saying we have the right to suspend their license. If we win that case, which I think we will.
I was just going to add, you think it's going to happen?
I think we will.
Wow, that's nice.
I think that the View is going to have to change. They're going to have 2 or 3 moderates or liberals on, conservatives on,
Or take a walk.
and balance, or get off the air.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Now, the political aftershocks of Venezuela's earthquakes. A week on, the deeper casualties, other than the horrible casualty of over 2,000 people killed in the Venezuelan earthquakes.
There's a lot more missing.
A deeper casualty is the fiction at the center of Washington's bet on Rodriguez, Elise Rodriguez, who was the vice president under Maduro when we got into the country and arrested Maduro. And she became president. The earthquake did not just level buildings, it revealed the hollow state Rodriguez leaves. The Venezuelan people are furious at Rodriguez. The country is now being run by an incompetent manager who delivered an earthquake response that the International Crisis Group described as anything ranging from totally non-existent to, at best, completely inadequate.
Oh, horrible.
In 2 cities, Foreign Policy observed witnessed survivors clawing through concrete with bare hands, with pickaxes and sledgehammers, while authorities with heavy machinery never arrived. Venezuelan firefighters, residents noted bitterly, had no fuel and no tools. Government posted barely any guidance to inform the population about rescue efforts. Now, after
They didn't open up any collection centers, donating good, nothing.
Now, after Maduro we arrested him, Rodriguez became the president. And,
Woman, isn't it?
Yeah.
Woman.
And Trump has stayed with her and said we should support her and help her. And I think that the Venezuelans are losing patience.
Yeah.
And they're going to demand a new election. The government also outright obstructed some relief efforts.
Oh, God.
In Merida State, a mayor from Rodriguez's party banned civil society groups from opening collection centers.
Why?
A team of Colombian rescuers who reportedly held for hours at Caracas' airport before authorities waved them through. When Rodriguez toured the shattered Caracas district of Chacao on Friday, residents met her with booze. And the state of Falcon, desperate locals broke a military cordon with shovels after security forces blocked access to affected areas where residents were searching for survivors. So those earthquakes may have been a big change in Venezuela. Now,
I don't understand why. I don't understand any of that. Why
just incompetence. I don't know. I don't know. But the point is that she really screwed it up. And this is like a snowstorm writ large, an earthquake with 2,000 dead and more.
And there's a lot missing.
Yeah.
I forget what the number is, in the tens of thousands.
And I think that what may happen here is that the Nobel Prize winner, Machado, the woman, will return to Venezuela, run for election, and be elected president, replacing Rodriguez. We'll see if that happens.
And what do you know about her?
Well, she's very good. She won the Nobel Prize.
For?
Peace Prize.
I mean,
because she's the leader of the opposition to Maduro.
Mm-hmm.
She risked her life for a long time to get him out of office. And she's a great human rights campaigner, good friend of America, and she should be installed as president.
Well, were you looking to go on one of her campaigns once? The name sounds familiar.
No, I worked for another guy, Leopoldo Lopez, who also was one of the leaders of the effort.
Yeah. All right, so Colorado Dems strike back at D.C. Democrats heard another clear warning bell in Colorado Tuesday night. The party's base voters, whether in a deep blue district, in a swing district, or statewide, are angry at the establishment and eager to choose pugnacious D.C. outsiders, even if it creates headaches for the party in the fall and beyond. Voters chose Trump's antagonist state attorney general Phil Weiser over sitting Senator Michael Bennet in the governor's race.
This was huge. This guy was the U.S. Senator. Yeah. He was appointed to the Senate, not elected, but then reelected and reelected.
And they chose
this
guy.
He was defeated in the Democratic primary by a crazy.
Yeah. And then that Senator Michael Bennet in the governor's race, and ousted longtime Rep. Diana DeJette, as you talked about her before, and picked a more progressive state rep, Manny Rutinel. as their nominee in one of the country's most competitive districts.
DeJet had been reelected 15 times, and the socialists beat her.
That's how they doing this. And Democratic Senator John Hickenlooper, who faced an underfunded challenge from the DSA, backed State Senator Julie Gonzalez, only managed an anemic 11-point win. So talk about this. You just interrupted me too much. And I've
said this a million times, and I repeat myself. When the Democrats lose an election, they move to the left. And you saw that after Nixon defeated Humphrey, they replaced Humphrey as the nominee with McGovern. And after Reagan defeated Carter, the next two Democratic candidates were Mondale and Dukakis, before they got sanity and nominated my old boss, Bill Clinton, in 92. Democrats always move to the left, and you're seeing that here. And what's happening is Democrats are disqualifying themselves.
That's what they're
with
in the
each
general.
of these wins. Yeah, with each of these wins, it becomes less and less likely that they'll take the House, and it's already the Senate is gone.
I was going to say, for the last couple of weeks, we're back and forth, you and I, about this and that, and you were so right. Because I was going, oh, my God, I can't believe it. They're winning it. No, they're not. They're winning their primaries. They're not going to win their general.
That's right.
But, the one thing, New York, they seem to go pretty left, even though they didn't
New York's
lose.
a one-party system.
That's right.
So there is no general election.
Right.
So if you win the primary, you win the general.
Right.
But the rest of the country isn't like that. This is not just the 250th anniversary of the United States, but the first anniversary of the passage of a big, beautiful bill. Trump's big tax cut passed in his first year in office in his second term, 2025. That bill has been one of the most successful ever in American history. The prosperity and the recovery we're witnessing now and the invulnerability to the increase in gas prices is largely due to that bill. Let's just remember its provisions. It prevented a $4 trillion tax increase. It cut the number of families paying the unfair death tax by half.
Oh, yeah.
It suspended the alternative minimum tax. Implements work requirements for able-bodied Americans receiving taxpayer-funded benefits. It saves the average family between $1,500 and $2,000 a year in reduced taxes. It opens federal lands and waters to oil, gas, coal, and mineral mining. It extends the 20% tax reduction for small businesses. It allows immediate expenses of all business equipment, software, and qualified production facilities. And cancels Biden's illegal student loan bailouts. It expands health savings account to give Americans greater health choices. It includes the biggest federal expansion of school choice scholarship. It ends the EV mandates. It saves billions of dollars by ending Green New Deal mandates and ends Medicaid for illegal immigrants.
A lot of money.
That bill was absolutely crucial. And look at what it's done to the United States. It's amazing what it's done. Now, we are now defeating China in the rare earth minerals field. Tell me about it, Doug.
So Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
No, 16.
How we're beating China. China has weaponized rare earths and rare earths magnets, which are used in virtually everything from cars to F-35s, that's the fighter jets. Over decades, China used predatory models to gain control of rare earths industry, dumping products to manipulate markets and buying up related factories around the world. Communist China's weaponization of rare earths and many other things has shown the U.S. and the rest of the world exactly who those people are, what they're willing to do, and what their agenda is. This,
by the way, is from Peter Navarro.
Oh, yes, right. Oh, he's so great. Here's how we're beating China on rare earth. The traditional rare earth production process is incredibly environmentally destructive. You've got to essentially run mountains of dirt through all sorts of nasty chemicals. What we're doing now, this is so big, what we're doing now is using innovation and new technology, including our work with two small companies, ReElement Technologies and Vulcan Elements. Remember those names. And and one big company. ReElement has an innovative process that is able to take both materials from mines and recycle material and turn it into oxides. Vulcan Elements then uses those oxides to make rare earth magnets. This process is like the critical mineral sector equivalent of fracking in the energy sector. It's the same kind of innovation that could lead us to strategic critical mineral dominance, similar to how we built up the strategic energy dominance. The new rare earths process is very kind to the environment and uses small spaces instead of big, gigantic spaces. It's fast and it's cheap. We are using, we are using innovation to beat China across rare earth supply chain and clean preparation. That's what this thing is about.
And so all of the concern about rare earth minerals that China has been using, it's kind of China's fallback position. Yeah, we're losing the oil stuff, we're losing the brick stuff, we're losing all the stuff, but we still have rare earth minerals. And now American technology has succeeded in creating an alternative to rare earth minerals that will ultimately be very effective.
Listen, we got to take a break, but before we do, the call-in number is 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222.
Welcome back to the Dick Morris and Doug Dipierro Show, sponsored by the Patriot Gold Group. So Trump issued his financial report today, his personal financials, and reveals that he has made $1 billion since he became president. And the Democrats are all hooting and hollering that shows how corrupt he is.
And he said, I don't even talk to my people that run my money like that. He goes, I let them take care of it, and they put it where it has to go. I don't even talk. I read that he doesn't even talk to him at this point because he's president.
His wealth has largely come from Bitcoin investment. And he issued the Trump coin, the Trump medallion. And it's
of course he did.
And because he's so popular, he sold huge numbers of them, and it piled up his net worth incredibly. It's cashing in on his popularity, which is fine. At least we have it.
The medallion is like a gold coin you get? Like, what is this medallion?
I don't know what it is.
Remember, he gave me, we were in the Oval Office a year ago, and we were leaving. Thank you, Mr. President. And Dick gets up with the guy we brought in, we introduced, right? Scott, good guy. And I stayed. I said, boss. I didn't call him boss in the Oval Office. I call him boss a lot, but not in the Oval. Mr. President, I could fix that thing in Mar-a-Lago. He goes, what thing? And he's so funny. He goes, what thing? I go, just stay with the thing. Oh, yeah, don't worry about that. Whatever, I can't say
but tell him about the gold thing.
I'm going to. I'm getting there. And he goes, I go, oh, and then I told him I'd do the what do you call it, the painting. All right, forget that part. He goes, all right, don't go anywhere. And he gives me a big medallion. It was like a 3-inch round, at least, really heavy, like a paperweight. And it said 47, 45.
I mean, what Trump essentially did.
You ruined my story, but I want everyone to know Dick just ruined my story. Go on, Dick.
he issued a coin, a Trump coin, and he sells it. And he has gotten huge numbers of investors in the name Donald Trump. And as it becomes more popular, the more people buy in and the price rises. It's like a stock, like he declared he's IBM or something.
Well, it's like gold.
Yeah, and as a result, he's made literally $1 billion. Wow. And good for him. It's using his popularity to make money. And what's the matter with that?
Nothing. But he said, I think we have it in the story. I'm not sure if I read it or we have it in the story here. He said that I don't look at any of that. He says, I have my people that run my money through there. And he didn't say as president, but he goes, and I don't even talk to them as president. He's not talking to them. This way, there's no anything going on.
Now, the June manufacturing index yesterday showed that we are still in expansion territory for the sixth straight month.
Wow. And today's job report paints a picture of a steady and stable economy that the Federal Reserve should not derail with rate hikes.
Now, the number of jobs created this month was lower than expected, only 53,000. But they're all in the private sector, and the government sector has shrunk under Trump. And this prosperity that we're enjoying is going to continue. And it's clear that now with energy prices going down, it's going to continue, and we're doing just fine. Now, there are huge changes going on in Ukraine, gigantic changes. I want to talk about those at a little length here. Ukraine is halting fuel supplies in Russia. They've developed these drones, pilotless drones, that they can fly deep into Russian territory, thousands of miles, and they're using it to bomb military logistics and fuel storage. The result is fuel shortages in much of the country and restricts use of military equipment and negatively impacts logistics. It complicates troop rotations, evacuations of wounded, and the supply of weapons. In May, Ukraine denounced that a strategic logistics lockdown would turn Crimea from a peninsula into an island isolated from mainland Russia. The aim of the systematic multi-pronged campaign is to strangle every supply route feeding Russia's forces across occupied southern Ukraine. Crimea serves as a critical logistics hub and rear area base for entire southern front. All Russian forces receive supplies through southern Ukraine. Disrupting these supplies will permit Ukraine to go on a counteroffensive and take back territory. This hasn't happened yet, but Russia's much-hyped summer offensive hasn't gone anywhere either. Ukraine is shaping the battlefield, explained U.S.-based Institute for the Study of War. They're turning the Russians' front lines brittle. They may leave the Russians in this vulnerable position for some time, perhaps months, and then counterattack. The weapon wreaking this havoc is largely medium-range drones, cheap, domestically produced, and capable of striking targets nearly 200 miles from the front. Ukraine's newly designed models include the FP2 and the Behemoth, the latter with Behemoth, right? The latter with a cruising speed of 110 miles an hour and capable of carrying a 154-pound warhead. The range extends Russian supply lines by forcing military logistics to bypass the most cost-efficient routes within the strike zone. Russia is thus compelled to reroute convoys through secretive destinations, largely from the north. And it's reported now that Russia is losing troops at the rate of over 50,000 a month.
What's the overall number? $1 million? No, it wasn't $1 million.
It's hard to tell, but the overall number seems to be over 1 million casualties.
Wow. Casualties.
And over 500,000 deaths.
Wow.
And the Russians are losing. When you look at satellite photos of the territory the Russians control, it's less than they controlled even a few months ago.
You know, when you get in a fight with your girlfriend or a wife or something, and the next day you don't even remember what the fight's at. What is Putin? I forget. What did he want? Just wanted the land?
Occupy Ukraine.
Yeah, right.
Used to be part of the Soviet Union. He wants it back.
Yeah, I knew that.
The other point is that Ukraine is disrupting energy supplies in Russia. The refineries are being blown up by the drones. And as a result, you have huge gas lines in Russia. Nobody can get gas for their cars. There's this gigantic energy shortage. This in the third largest energy producing country in the world.
Wow, and they don't have
because
energy.
Of these drones.
Wow.
And that is increasingly causing Putin major problems. And he could be overthrown or he could be forced out.
That.
Because the people are so upset about that.
One of the parts of the story that we skipped over that was important, these drones, they're attacking their supply route.
Yep.
So now these guys got to go around and this and that and go to different areas. He's joking. Zelensky's doing something. He's got some guys that have some.
They're winning.
some
They're
good
winning the war.
strategic.
It's unbelievable. We've gone from thinking, oh my God, isn't it unfair that Russia is taking on little
And
Ukraine?
Zelensky's going to win.
And now saying, oh my God, Ukraine's going to win.
I got to call General Flynn and have him on next week and talk about this. So we're going to talk about, you know what, let's take some calls. Let's see, Teddy from Yonkers. Hey, Teddy from Yonkers.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Hi, Teddy.
I've always opposed many of the views of Trump and many of the Republicans. I've always been a Democrat. But what has happened in this past year, since Memdummy, I should call him, became mayor, I have become totally turned off, disenchanted, disillusioned by what the Democratic Party is and the silence of Schumer. Outrageous that he's silent.
Yep,
I
he's
am going
terrified.
to be voting for Republican for the rest of my life, as long as I'm alive, and I'm just so upset what's happened.
You know,
And
Schumer.
I
You
wanna
mentioned
ask you,
Schumer.
What do you foresee for the future?
Yeah, well, the
especially in New
Democratic
York?
Party is going to move increasingly to the left. It's going to get massacred in the elections coming up. And it's not going to change. It's going to lose the 28 election and then the 30 and 32 election.
Yeah, but what about New York, like he's saying? They're not going to lose New
it's
York.
different because New York is so heavily Democratic.
Right.
Schumer is right to be terrified. AOC, I think, is going to run for the Senate against Schumer.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's going to beat him. And my personal theory is at that point, we have a chance to knock off AOC in the general election. I don't think Blakeman is going to beat Hochul, but I think Blakeman could run for the Senate and defeat AOC.
Well, I think Blakeman could win.
After she knocks off
I'm
Schumer.
sticking with that.
And the other House leader, Jeffries, the leader of the
Hakeem
House,
Jeffries
comes from Brooklyn. He's going to face a major challenge from the extreme left.
Who do you think?
Jeffries, I don't know who,
You
but
don't
somebody who Mendemi puts up.
He's pretty extreme, isn't he?
Yeah,
Jeffries?
he is.
Not
but-
as much as some of these
right.
socialists.
They can come up with worse. And you have something where the leadership of both the House and the Senate and the Democratic Party is from New York State and is at risk from a socialist takeover.
I think Blakeman could win. Anyway, thank you, Teddy.
I hope Blakeman wins for the governorship.
Yeah. I hope
so,
pray
too.
to God that he does.
Me too. And by the way, if you want a new name for this mayor, it's called Nightmare Moron Mankami. In case you
That's
want
a great one. I second that.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Jack in New Jersey.
Hey, Jack.
Hello, Jack.
Hello. Hello. Good to talk to you. My wife and I are sitting here listening to your show. We are avid listeners, but our brains are all mixed up now because of several minutes ago, you were lambasting the ABC network for basically acting like a propaganda channel for the left-wingers.
Yeah.
And we're sort of confused because we are listening to you on a station with studios in New York, transmitter in New Jersey, 770 WABC. So we're still scratching our heads.
That's radio.
The channel we're listening to
You
is
know the difference
definitely
between radio and TV? You notice we don't have pictures, we're all just sound. And the difference is that radio does not have to be.
It doesn't fall under FCC?
Well, it does, but there are looser regulations. And because there are more radio channels, there aren't just three.
So there's more balance in radio
Yeah.
than on the TV?
But there's also limits. I mean, we're limited in the amount of time we can spend on the candidate
Right, we
running
can
for
only,
office.
right,
Yeah.
like 10 minutes each.
But the difference is the radio versus TV, and the challenge to ABC makes a great deal of sense.
And plus, there's no relation to ABC TV, WABC Radio,
No.
and ABC TV.
No.
It's not related at all. All right. All right. Thank you
Are
very
you
much.
saying that
Go on.
when you say when you say ABC network, we're supposed to hear ABC TV automatically?
Yeah.
Well, we'll say that in the future, though. You're
Yeah,
right. Well,
you
thank
are.
you for correcting us. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And Gene from Brooklyn. Hey, Gene, we got 1 minute.
Yeah, 1 minute? Okay, fast. all you guys, I understand you're denouncing. I wouldn't even give them the credit to the Democrats. You can't find one good Democrat in any state. They're here to destroy this country. What you should do is create a letter that's what he did last night, Trump, was fantastic. All you got to do is put down whoever's running for each state or city, the accomplishments of the GOP. What does the Democrats do? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
You put a big zero.
They're good at hating Trump.
You got a really good point. When the election comes and you actually have Democrats running against Republicans, people are going to see how bad the Democrats are.
Short.
Yeah,
Right.
and the way they're going to lose. They're going to get killed in this election.
Thank you, Gene. That's for anything
You
else?
got to do like that. So you got to show the messenger. We got to be sure. That party last night was unbelievable. Everybody says the same thing.
Unbelievable.
All that does is create more jealousy for the Democrats.
Oh, they'll
They don't
find
know
stuff
what to
wrong
do.
with it. They'll find stuff wrong with it. Oh, look what he did. Cost too much money. Listen, we have to go, Gene. Thank you so much. We're going to take a break.
Welcome to the Dick Morris and Doug Dipierro show, sponsored by the Patriot Gold Group. Trump announced this week that he is not going to renew the U.S., Canada, Mexico trade agreement, which was a replacement for NAFTA he negotiated in his first term.
Right.
He said that the world has changed and he wants this agreement updated.
So
I think his major focus will be Canada, which has continued to circumvent the U.S. agreements by importing Chinese products and bringing them into the United States. But Trump said about Mexico and Canada, they need everything we have, and they have to treat us better. We don't need their cars. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their energy. We don't need anything.
I don't need your stinking banana boat.
Yeah, that's right.
Trump effect. The U.S. workforce is becoming more American. This is a good story. The June jobs report showed that foreign-born labor force has fallen sharply over the past year, a sign that President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration is shaping the composition of the U.S. labor market. The number of foreign-born people in the labor force fell by 700,000 from June of last year. The foreign-born civilian population fell by almost 600,000. That marks a significant reversal from the labor market of recent years, when a surge of immigration under Biden administration rapidly expanded the foreign-born workforce. The latest numbers suggest that the Trump administration's border and enforcement policies are now beginning to unwind that shift. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
We could get jobs.
We're looking at all the impacts of Trump's deportation policy. Big one in New York is that murders have reached the lowest level in city history, 25% drop after a huge 26 crime reduction. And this isn't Mandami. This isn't our police force. This is the deportations at work.
Yeah, right.
3 million fewer people in the country, so there were fewer murders. 22. Big Apple just saw the fewest number of murders over the past 6 months of any year in history. An unprecedented dip in major crime spread across the metropolis in 26. The 5 boroughs saw 122 murders through the end of June, nearly a 25% drop over the 162 murders over the same span last year. Shootings, transit crime, and robberies all dipped across the city so far this year, for a nearly 6% overall drop in major crimes. These results would be significant in any year, but they're especially significant now that New York City is in the middle of one of the busiest seasons it's ever seen.
Oh, my God.
With the NYPD managing some of the largest and most complex overlapping events in the country. So this is across the country. Crime is going way down. Crime is no longer a major issue. And it's because of the deportations. We sent the criminals home. Anybody who committed a crime while they're here got deported and got thrown out of the country.
You know, that's funny. When I went over the story, I said to myself, how's this relate to Mancami.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. And when you just said this has to do with his deportation, all that not sanctuary city, but deportation, I go, wow, that's how it happened. Because Mandami hates the police. He hates anything that's going to be
Trump has solved the crime problem by throwing the criminals out of the country.
Racist.
It's that simple.
Unbelievable.
That simple.
This is great. This is so great. Especially that we live in the city. I don't have to worry about it. What are you on, Dick?
26.
Mm-hmm.
The takeover of the Democratic Party by socialists has momentum, following wins for D.C. mayor and 3 New York City congressional primaries. A Democratic Socialists of America member, this is a new name, Melat Kiros, K-I-R-O-S. Melat is his first name, M-E-L-A-T. Last name is Kiros, K-I-R-O-S.
Nobody cares.
This is a name you're going to remember. He just became the new congressman from Denver. Kiros, a graduate student who's dubbed the AOC of the West.
Oh, God.
She's attractive and 29, a woman, same age as AOC. Kiros is a former bartender, barista they call her. AOC was a former bartender. The left holds auditions to produce central casting candidates that attract young progressive voters and volunteers.
Auditions.
If anything, Kiros is more radical than AOC.
Wow.
On economics, she supports a litany of new big budget entitlements with a call for a moratorium on
data construction.
Data center
construction. When we're talking about the threat of AI, I think a lot of folks think about it as like the apocalypse of the robots, she says. It actually a lot worse. This is what she's talking about, just in that it gets absorbed into our military industrial complex. First of all, AI is going to become Terminator one of these days if we're not careful. But so who is this? I was going to say broad, but I'm not going to say broad.
She's the
right?
new AOC.
Yeah, right.
And her name is again
Kiros, K-I-R-O-S.
Yeah, Melat Kiros, K-I-R-O-S.
Right.
And she is the new AOC.
And worse, as you just said.
Now, incumbent Senator Dan Sullivan is a close... No, I'm sorry, we've been through that.
We've been through that. We're talking about lower tax rates, more prosperity.
Call.
Oh, let's take a call. Good idea. Let's go to John in South Carolina. Hey, John, with the voting thing.
Hey, happy Independence Day, gentlemen. How are you?
Same to you.
Yes, same to you.
Hey, listen, Ro, is that her name, Ro? Her wisdom is amazing. The question that I have for New York is how could you possibly change it back to, anything close to a two-party system?
Wow.
Especially in the last election was just a ridiculous, it wasn't even an election.
Well, one way we could do it is that we just did a story on liberals don't want to procreate. They don't want to have any kids. So that's going to be one. I don't see that ever happening.
Yeah. No, I think that there is a scenario.
What would be the procedure, though? That's my question.
Yeah, right. I know.
Blakeman could defeat Hochul. There's a chance.
And pluck Mandami.
Let me explain what's going on with Mandami. When he took office, the previous mayor, Adams, had accumulated a budget surplus of over $75 billion.
$75 billion?
Yeah. And that surplus has carried New York under Mamdani. So he can implement his programs without major budget cuts. And he doesn't need to cut the number of cops or other stuff.
So he doesn't look like the worst guy in the world right now.
Now, he's going to be the worst guy when his housing policies come through. But that's going to take a couple of years to do. First, he's refused rent increases for rent-stabilized apartments. That's going to force landlords to cut back. And then when they cut back, he's going to step in and socialize the apartments, have the city take them over. And it's going to run those apartments into the ground. But you're going to see that increasingly. But this all takes time. And our ability to defeat him in the first few months or year of his administration, I think, is dropping significantly.
Now, John's talking about, is there any way to change?
Yeah, the other thing that can happen
voting system
is we can allow fracking in upstate New York. Upstate New York has lost half of its population.
That was Hochul. That was
Cuomo.
But
continued under Hochul. Upstate New York used to be about 45% of the state. Now it's only about 30% of the state. And that's been a huge change. That's given New York City tremendously more voting power. And if we allowed fracking in upstate New York, got some prosperity back there, it would probably increase the population, and that could help us. But long term, I think the answer is there are 49 other states, and the other answer is, of course, people leaving New York. That doesn't help you.
New York's going to be a slow turn, very slow, because it's New York. It's all liberals. But listen, John, we have to go. We have a hard break. Thank you very much. Great.
Welcome back to the Dick Morris and Doug Dipierro Show, sponsored by the Patriot Gold Group. Let me give a further answer to that question about New York State. We will still have one governor. We'll still have 2 senators. But New York is losing its congressman. New York will lose 1 and probably 2 or maybe even 3 congressional seats in the next census. And federal and California is going to lose 4 or 5 congressmen. Texas and Florida are gaining congressmen, probably 5 by the time.
But what's that going to do for New York?
That's going to change the federal government dramatically. And the federal government increasingly will change New York, but it's going to take a long time. And things get worse before they get better because the good people are leaving New York and people are voting with their feet. And that just is happening.
Let's go to the phone. Let's go to Eduardo in Florida. Hello, Eduardo in Florida.
Hi, Eduardo.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Doug and
Dick.
Yeah.
I'm glad you remember my name and not his. It's going to be the Doug Dipierro, Dick Morris show soon.
Your name needs to be in front of Dick's. Just kidding. But I wanted to comment back on Venezuela. Mr. Cabello, he's the interior minister. He's got an arrest warrant, and I've been telling people he's if he's left alone, he's going to be the next Maduro. Some people might agree, some people might disagree, but yeah, that's somebody to watch. He's the leader of the militias. Yeah. By the way, those motorcycle militias.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't know this guy. We've
got to replace Rodriguez. We've got to allow free elections in Venezuela, and the conservatives are going to win that, just like they've won it in Colombia and a whole lot of other Latin American countries.
Bingo. Right.
We have got to. Trump is the reason he left Rodriguez in power is he didn't want to make it a huge change engineered by the U.S.
Sure.
He wanted to leave as much in place as he could. But now with the earthquake, he can't leave her in power.
Is he losing juice there, or does he still have his power?
Oh, he has all the power in the world, and he's very popular. But he should complete the process. The other thing he did was Rodriguez agreed to give the U.S. Venezuelan oil and agreed not to ship it to Cuba.
Right.
So those are all important and they're valid. But after this earthquake...
Oh, that wasn't a blockade by us?
It was.
But they
it was
agreed?
Also Venezuela
they agreed? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Eduardo. Nothing else, right? You good? Thank you, Eduardo. Wow, so that's pretty interesting.
A big part of that was Trump dealing with Rodriguez. And then also Rodriguez has let a lot of American companies in to renew their oil production.
Sure.
And Venezuela is now going to be a big oil producer.
Getting closer to the capitalistic state type of thing.
Exactly. But he's got to get rid of Rodriguez. She is terrible. And let the
and
country
how would
have
he
a
do
free
that?
election.
Like, what would he do? Just talk about it? I got to get rid of this person?
Yeah, just talk about it.
Right, and pretty much know where the exit sign is.
Well, what he can also do is have the U.S. encourage the Machado, the progressive, the good democracy
when I say
to
juice,
come back into the country.
He's got juice. Dick Morris, it's been an honor to be here with you. And thank you, Roxana, for On the Rocks. This is great. And God bless America.
And thank you, Rafkim.
Yeah, Riff Raff. It's Riff Raff. It's not Raff. Thank you.